Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. So last time I did a comparison of all the current gaming consoles. So I came on the channel and said I'm looking essentially for a brand new console. Which one am I excited about? So to nobody's surprise, I don't think anybody was expecting me to pick Stadia, and I did not. However, that being said, I figured I didn't really give it enough, you know, of a chance. So let me go back and at least subscribe for a month. Let's see what it can actually provide. What can it offer me? So it's there for a reason. They must have done something with it. So I went ahead, 2021. I signed up to Stadia. Yes, you heard correctly. I signed up to Stadia, and this is kind of my review, my impressions, my thoughts. So I'm gonna leave um, a description of the last video plus a link to it in the box below, just so you guys can go back and take a look at that if you guys want. So we're gonna start off more of, I guess, the specs, right? Really, what to expect when it comes to Google Stadia. Well, Google Stadia is a unique type of quote unquote console, as because simply put, it's not really a console. It's a streaming game company. It's a little bit unique situation here. So essentially, what you're getting is a Chromecast and a controller. So the specs, everything about it, pretty much goes to Google itself, to the actual company of Stadia. The main advantage of that is that there's no downloads, right? You essentially just sit down, any single screen, sorry, that you can essentially connect an HDMI that has an HDMI port, sorry, so you can connect your Chromecast to. I'm mixing up my things here. You can essentially just play any game you want, right? Even if you even if it doesn't have an HDMI port, and I've tried this myself, you can kind of use adapters, all sorts of different little things, so you can actually plug it into an old screen. It will work. You can play Stadia games everywhere, really everywhere. So that part of it is fantastic. Now, you don't have, like I said, you don't have to really worry about the specs wise because it has nothing to do with your system whatsoever, if it's obsolete or not. It's always up to date. The best thing and the only thing that you have to remember, it supports 5.1 surround, HDR, and can support up to 4K Ultra HD, which is amazing, right? And at the time when this came out, not every gaming console could do that, right? Um, I've tried with my PlayStation, my original PlayStation, and although it's supposed to kind of do it, it really doesn't. I'm sorry. I mean, if anybody has any other experiences with it, has tried it out, let me know. It really does not. So knowing the fact that Stadia can actually do this type of um, quality when it comes to streaming games is amazing, right? So these are the specs, more or less, of Stadia. So these are the things that you really need to concern yourself with. There's nothing really else to it. Now, that's out of the way. Let's be honest here. It rarely does 4K. I've tried it on numerous games. I really never seen it go above 1080p in my case. But here's the thing: how many gaming consoles will actually do more than 1080p? I'm like most UIs, for example, don't even go more than 1080p, right? So they say that they can support 4K, which at the moment not even every TV can do 4K, let alone 8K that the new gen consoles are coming out with. But still, 1080p for for a streaming gaming console is a big deal, right? And also think of who is really their market here. So they're aiming more towards the Switch, right? And based on anything that's portable gaming, I think they had, or on paper, they had a good chance of going after the Switch's clients, right? I think they didn't really take into account of their product, and at the same time, I don't really think they kind of realize how loyal people are to Nintendo. That being said, it's not a bad it's not a bad streaming company, right? And I know I'm calling it a streaming company because let's be honest, this is exactly what you're paying for. You're paying a monthly fee for you to stream their game. So I'm essentially comparing them to Netflix, right? This is what I'm comparing them to. So you pay a monthly fee and you play X amount of games based on your monthly subscription. And I think when they came out, pretty much everybody had that type of thought. This was what most people were expecting. But let's be honest, nobody really has that. So that's the disadvantage when it comes to Stadia. But if you think a bit, if you think of it more realistically, like I said before, no other company has that. Look at the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4, you need to get the PlayStation Plus if you want to play multiplayer games in most games that they offer. Not all of them, granted. You can go for PlayStation Now, which is essentially what Stadia is, streaming games online. And let's be honest, Stadia does it a lot better. And if you do want to buy any current games, you still have to dish out anywhere between $40 to $150. Yes, there are games at $150. So right away, knowing the price that you were paying on the PlayStation 4, people just went really, really crazy when it came to the pricing of Stadia, which is essentially cheaper version of the PlayStation and their PlayStation Now. And like I said it before, Stadia does it better. I've had PlayStation Now for many years. I love the idea of it, being able to play the classic games, but my God, was it slow. The lag, the streaming lag, it was unplayable in certain cases. You don't have that with Stadia. So granted, you can't always get 4K. Especially in my case, I don't really think I've ever seen 4K. Um, but it doesn't mean that it plays bad, right? So giving Stadia a chance, they did surprise me. Yes, fine. They didn't have everything that I was expecting, but it was not a bad experience whatsoever. They have new additions here. They came out with achievements, so now you can actually go in and check the achievements. You can stream directly to YouTube, right? So if you're playing something, you can kind of like stream it directly to YouTube. You can actually have access to YouTube right away rather than going in and like researching for YouTube or going through your favorites. It's essentially the same company, so they can do pretty much whatever they want. What else? Their controllers. So okay, their controllers are not bad. They're not great, but they're not bad, right? So they would need more options as far as I'm concerned. The feel of it, it's decent, right? It's something that you kind of have to hold for yourself for you to notice the difference. But they're not the worst, right? It's a pretty decent controller. The best part is, if you guys don't like it, you can connect any other type of controller that you want. They actually give you the option to go in and connect a third party controller. Example, Xbox, PlayStation. It's not a problem. You have that option. If you guys choose to buy it right now, it's actually on discount. So for the Chromecast and the the controller, which let's face it, we all need extra controllers if we're gamers, they're under $80. Whereas the Xbox and the PS5, they keep going up in price, right? And if nothing else, if you don't really care about their controller, well, you're getting an Ultra HD Chromecast, which just that is enough, right? I mean, it makes sense just for that. For you to buy just for that, you get a controller at the same time. The games, when Google Stadia came out, the games are completely absent. They were not there. And I think we all know that by now, but it's getting bigger, right? So you guys can see it on the screen. The games are there. They're getting more and more. They may not have the most recent, most exclusive games out there, but they're working on it, and you can definitely see that, right? So they still have nice ones. I think my favorite when I was trying it out when I was playing it, it actually comes from their own their own studios, right? Hello Neighbor. What a nice game. The graphics are there, the idea is there. Um, I was really impressed. I mean, I don't really know if I'm committed to Stadia yet, but I wasn't really disappointed either. So the biggest reason why, it's not necessarily the price because they are cheaper than the PlayStation 4, and they're, I would say, a little bit less than the Xbox, including their Game Pass, right? The biggest con here for me is what happens if Google decides to leave the market? What happens to my games? I just dished out, I don't know, $300-400 on games. Do I lose them? Do I get a refund? What happens to my games? That's the biggest thing for me. So I'm buying games. I expect to have them forever. Hey, I still play my retro games. I'll still play my Game Boy, my GameCube, my Xbox 360. I'll play all those things. After X amount of years, whether they're stays in the market or leaves, I would like to be able to go back and play those games. Can I? This is the biggest thing for me. And they haven't really given a response that really excites me. Right? I mean, I still want to know, what guarantee do I have that if they decide to close Stadia, that I'll still be able to play my games? So that's the biggest disadvantage as far as I'm concerned when it comes to Stadia. Not necessarily the price, not their streaming service, right? Quote unquote. I mean, they do it a lot better than most other companies, despite the fact that it doesn't always hit 4K Ultra HD. So tell me what you guys think. Do you agree with it? I mean, this is the way I'm looking at it right now. I'm actually going to continue playing it for maybe a couple more weeks, at least until my subscription is over, and see how it goes. I mean, I wasn't really disappointed as I really thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to go in and it was going to be a complete failure. And you know what? No, no, it wasn't. So tell me what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe for additional reviews. I'm going to be doing some more coming up very soon. And peace.